So hello to everyone attending. My name is Jen. I am Program Director at Medical Education Institute, MEI. We are the people behind Home Dialysis Central. A lot of you are tuning in from our Facebook group. We are sponsored for this webinar by Outset. David will absolutely talk about how much he loves Outset. And prior to coming to MEI, I was a dialysis nurse for about a decade. So I enjoy talking about subjects relating to home dialysis with people. With me tonight, I have two amazing social workers. I have Tom and I have Beth. I'm going to start with Tom and tell us about yourself and how you ended up on this call today, Tom.
My name's Tom Lebetich. I've been a dialysis social worker for about 37 years. And even my very first job in dialysis in 1986 was at St. Barnabas in Livingston, New Jersey. And at that time, we had about 25 home hemodialysis patients and doing the traditional 3 days a week with the traditional machines. And actually, one of them was the president of AAKP at the time. So as a new social worker to dialysis, I was very lucky to get an education by the patients I worked with and to start observing home dialysis and especially home hemodialysis early in my career. And currently, I'm working at a center that only trains for PD and home hemo. And previously, I had worked part-time for Wellbound for 8 years. And once again, at a center that only trained for home hemo and PD. So I've been involved with NKF and CNSW and whatever groups that would have me. So I think that's how I wound up on the call today. I'm easy to get to.
You've been around too. Beth, how about you? Tell us who you are. I know who you are.
Okay, so I'm Beth Witten. I have been a nephrology social worker since the dark ages. I think I can now officially call myself the grandmother of nephrology social work. I started working in dialysis in 1978. My very first job was at the University of Kansas Medical Center. I am actually in Kansas right now. And I worked with a whole bunch of patients. Half of our patients were on home dialysis at that time. And they were some on home hemo and some on PD. A lot has changed in the dialysis industry since 1978, not only in the growth of corporate dialysis clinics, but also just in the equipment. I mean, I think back to the equipment that people were using back in the day. And even though people that have not been on dialysis for very long think that it takes forever for innovation, it kind of does seem to take forever. But you look back and you see what people were doing, what they were using for home dialysis, home hemo, home PD, and it has changed a lot. I had a great group of doctors I worked with. I tell people that the doctors didn't mind teaching the social worker when they were also teaching the fellows and the residents and the interns. So I see that David and Mimi have joined, so I will shut my mouth and we can go to them.
You did so good.
And actually, I'm going to interrupt real quick because Beth talked about being the grandmother of dialysis social work, and we see her as one of the goddesses.
Yes, she is a goddess of dialysis, nephrology social work. So you guys are up there. David, Mimi, it is great to see you guys.
They try to stop the love couple from coming in. I don't know what's going on, but we're in here now. Hello, everybody.
Mimi, our glasses match.
You see that? You see that?
I love it. I love it. I love it. So I had Tom and Beth have already introduced themselves. So I figured, why don't we have you guys jump in and tell us, why don't you start and tell us how you got on this call in the first place? Because you're Nephramus.
Okay.
You like that now? Nephramus.
I like that. I see what you did there.
Yeah.
I go by the name of David Rush. This is my beautiful wife, Mimi. We have been together since high school. We met in high school. high school sweethearts, and I asked her to marry me very young age. What, 17, 18 years old?
19 and 20.
19 and 20. And I was, just still trying to figure out who I was, but I just knew I wanted to be with this girl. And, we left college, did everything together, ended up getting kidney disease, and I asked her to leave me before we got married. I didn't think she would want to stick around with this sick guy who potentially had a year to live and possibly couldn't have children. But she told me, no, like, this is where I want to be. I want to be here with you, and we're going to go through it together. And man, it's been how long? going on 25 years?
25.
That we've been together and been married for 14 years.
It's going to be 14.
Going to be 14. Well, at least I'm not that off. So that's our story. I'm a kidney patient, home dialysis patient. I've been transplanted one time. I lost that transplant 2017 graciously from my brother Dwayne, who donated to me and extended life. I currently do home dialysis at home, and I am a motivational speaker and kidney educator, and go around the world and just try to give the wins only mentality to people to live life and live it fully, whether you're on dialysis, whether you're living with a chronic illness, whether you're healthy, just live life and be happy and smile as much as possible. So that's me.
So Mimi,
Mimi.
My name is Mimi, and I'm married to this big guy over here. We met in high school. What else? Like he said, we've been married for almost 14 years in July, and been dating on and off. It'll be 25 in March.
On and off. It was off one time.
No, a few times. Okay.
Anyway.
Sorry.
So one of the things I was thinking about throwing out there and just letting people comment on is what do you guys think the difference is between care partnering, caregiving, and life partnering? And where do you guys draw those kinds of lines with each other so that you're still partners?
Man, that's a great question. I feel like it kind of it does mesh together. As far as a care partner on that end, she kind of knows how long I've been doing it. So she kind of plays a role of, if you need me, I'm here. In the caregiver, care partner role. In the life partner role, she has, a little bit more say so, because it's things that we're going through together. So her opinion is bigger and broader. But I listen to her opinion through everything, really. I mean, when there was times when I was down, especially when I had a catheter in my chest and she was administering my dialysis, it was a hard time for both of us, because I felt like I was back to square one, and she was having to step in on something that she wasn't used to stepping in on. And we had to have that trust. We had to trust each other. And, I trust her with my life. I don't hesitate at all, but, she was a little scared, because what if it's a clot? What if I shoot air? It was a scary moment for us, but I mean, she was there, and, I think she did amazing. And, I trust her with everything. So I think the lines kind of,
They intertwine.
yeah, they blend a lot.
They do.
And,
Do you guys do that thing when you guys have to work together to do a treatment where it's almost like you have four hands and you guys pass things back and forth in a unspoken kind of way?
she's a more prepared person than me. So she had everything lined up ready and little baskets, and me, I'm kind of like, if I need it, I'm, what I'm saying?
You're ripping the packages, always one in one.
I'm ripping things out. And I'm more like no parachute, jump out the plane type of guy. And she is more of like, let's map out where we're going type of person. So it's a good relationship, because when I need that, that straight and narrow, she'll straighten me out. And when I just want her to live a little, she'll allow me to be that, live a little for her. So it does work out where we do have the forearms, where we're in sync. We can talk without talking.
I love seeing that when people work together. Beth, I'm sure Beth and Tom have seen that too. When couples just end up working in a synchronicity. Beth, I know you had things to say about partnership versus and doing the maximum of level of what you can do, so not to burn a care partner out and to keep that level of closeness.
yeah,
I was wondering if you want to talk about that a little.
yeah, I've seen both, and all along the continuum. I think that it's really hard for spouses or loved ones when they have their loved one who is ill. And it's one thing when someone is acutely ill, when someone's got the flu or something, then you do often wait on them. You do more things than you would typically do for them if they were healthy. But then when somebody's got a chronic illness and it doesn't get better, then you need to figure out, where do you draw the line? Where do you say, I know you can do this. I know that you can do this, because I've had people in my own personal life where, I'm what I'd call a fixer. So like something's going on and people are talking to me about, oh, this problem, blah, 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 blah. And I'm in there trying to fix it. And I've had people say to me, I just want to vent. I don't need you to fix it. When you try to fix it, you make me feel like I can't fix it myself. So I think that's a message to keep in your head when you've got somebody that you're a spouse of, or when you're helping with dialysis. If they can do it, let them do it. Let them get the confidence that they need to live that full life that you believe that they can live. I mean, do you, David, do you and Mimi feel like that's appropriate? I mean, if you disagree, please.
I agree. I mean, there's times where, you kind of got to it's like when you're raising children, you know what I mean? It's like you want to hold on to them forever. I know I do. And my kids are about to be teenagers. My son's about to be a teenager soon, and I'm stressing out. My daughter's 12, and I'm losing it. They have opinions. They want to do things. They want to hang out more, and I just want to put a leash on them and keep them home. But at the same time, I remember when I was a kid, my mom would let me experience things, and she was just, what I call it is like the bowling bumper life. I'm just the bumpers. The ball's gonna go like that, and I'm there to just kind of
Right, keep it straight.
so they hit the pins, you know what I mean? And I think that's what it is. Like, she trusts me to make the right decisions for my health. And whenever I'm being stubborn about maybe having to go to the doctor, or, hey, I'm not feeling well, I don't want to go to the ER room because they're going to be in there forever. And she's the kick in the butt I need sometimes to, but then there's times where like, look, this is your sickness too. You need to be able to do this. And I think we kind of feed off each other like that, because when I'm down, she definitely can pick me up, and when I'm and vice versa. And I think that's what makes it a little bit easier to maintain with chronic illness, and especially dealing with dialysis and dealing with kidney failure.
Tom, what have you seen?
Well, I think home dialysis is like a dance. And, sometimes when you're dancing, you're of equal ability. Sometimes somebody's the lead, flipping the other person around. You don't want to be dragging the other person around. So somewhere that person's got to, step up in order to make it happen. So, you kind of get a routine. Obviously, when I was much younger, I hated routines. You wanted things to just kind of be happening and by the seat of your pants. But my gosh, I love routines now. It's meatloaf. It's Wednesday, meatloaf.
It's mac and cheese Mondays at my house. Always has to be. The kids freak out.
Yeah.
So I think that's the biggest thing is when I'm working kind of with patients is, when first starting, or even over the long period of time, you're kind of looking for that routine, that working, kind of together. And like, once again, one might be a little bit better than the other one, but as long as they're okay with that, that's that's the great thing. And the other part of it is I've been around a long time. So now I'm the most unprofessional professional you can find, because I'll walk in there as if I just walked into a bar and talked to somebody, or, I'm their cousin, or I went to high school with them or something, and just be kind of straight that way, as opposed to the clipboard type of thing. So
Patients love that. Patients love that.
Yeah.
I think that's almost the best way. I know you got to keep a level of professionalism, but I want to be able to relate to you. I want to feel like I'm talking to somebody who knows what I'm, I know you're not going to, a lot of people won't know, but if I feel like they're coming at me with that sense of, understanding me, then that makes a difference.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so nice. What kind of rituals do you guys have?
Rituals. Do we have rituals?
Yeah, routines and rituals like that are, yeah.
Okay. So we
I
got
hear you have some.
morning.
Yes, we do. Even
Yeah,
if,
go ahead.
like today, you did treatment early,
Mhm.
so then I will have to wait for him to be done with treatment so that we can have our coffee together. And that started really when I started working at home. I kept my hospital job per diem, so I would be gone 2 days out of the week. I'll be gone by 5 o'clock in the morning. Then I'll be back home by 9 a.m. He'll wait for me until I get home, sit down, turn on my computer, and then drink our coffee while I'm working.
Mhm.
So we must have our coffee together.
We have to do it, yeah, unless I'm out of town. And usually out of town is funny because I can't really do it when I'm out of town. I won't drink coffee when I'm out. And, you know, she'll call me to say, hey, I'm sorry, I have to have my coffee. And I'll be like, go ahead, babe, it's fine. You know, I'll be home tomorrow morning and we can have it tomorrow. I just think it just gives us a kind of it gives us a minute to talk. And, you know, before I go off to treatment, before she goes and logs into work, it just gives us a minute to just catch up. Even though we spend a lot of time together, I know it's just like that morning thing kind of gets us going. We can get our stuff off in the morning, prepare for the day. Okay, look, I'm treating, I'll be done by this time. I know the kids have this time. Are you going to take this one? Okay, I'll take. We kind of like can put our plan together in the morning and then kind of seize the day that way because we already spoke about it and we're not like worrying about it later.
Right.
You know, as
You guys have like a strategy meeting.
have to, because like
Yeah.
as patients, the time, it's always about the time. It's about how much time you have. And, you know, I'm sitting there 4 hours on treatment. My day it revolves around that. Even though I don't, you know, let it control my day, it's a chunk of my day. And I can give
Right.
myself that 4 hours to sit, maybe an hour to kind of recoup. And then I can hit the day hard. So like today, I know I had some meetings this morning and I just didn't want to be on the machine for them. So I woke up super early and just got on early so I could be ready to have the day to do everything I needed to do before, you know, the webinar and before a couple meetings and Zooms I had. So it's just about time. And then being able to get that little coffee time in with her. For me, you know, I think it's special for her too. It's special for me. You know, I think it's something that we started to do and I just never wanted to negate from it. So
It seems like it gets the energy off to a good start. That just seems like how it is for you guys. That's my nurse perception, but it seems like you guys need to have your morning meeting with each other and then start the day strong together on an energy level.
because the coffee won't be ready to go. That's when she's upset with me. So then I'll have to go puppy eye her, be like, you want coffee? You know?
Now, do you make the coffee before or
Did you
after
forget
treatment?
to put the coffee on, or are you mad at me? And she'd be like, oh no, I just forgot. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make it right now. So, you know, yeah,
That's a good ritual.
yeah, it's
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I used to train home hemo, I like to tell this story to people because it's something. I used to come across a lot of couples that weren't as close as you guys, you know, or they hadn't been close in a while, or they'd been going through some stuff. And I would notice as an outsider that, you know, they were a little disconnected. And one of the things I used to encourage people to do is to hug more, you know, even as a thank you, or as an act of appreciation, or as a post blood pressure to keep yourself from being a little woozy, if that's how you are when you stand up. I used to encourage that sort of thing because people would find that once they got used to having that contact, they would want to have that contact more often, and then they would grow together more as a couple and work together better. So I don't know. Have you noticed that kind of stuff too, Tom and Beth? You guys have noticed where people kind of need that closeness to get through this situation?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, obviously, when someone initially starts and they're toxic, you know, I mean, nobody's feeling good about anything or attractive, or, you know, they just want to feel better, and that's the main goal. But then after that, then there, you know, you need that closeness. You need that feeling of warmth. And I've observed, I think that book, Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus, is like on the money, because in general, men think about things and then come up with the answer and say something, where women may talk more. So I think if the male is the patient, it's not unusual to see them more isolate a little bit more. Maybe they don't sit as close to their wife anymore. Maybe they're not holding their hand or touching, or, you know, just kind of things like that. So they're so you kind of have to bring them together there. So just walking and holding hands or touching, or actually that hug is, I interestingly enough, my wife and I do that. We try and do it with we have clothes on, but as few as possible, so you feel it. I don't
Hey,
have my winter jacket on, but just kind of grabbing each other, and I'm like not a quick hug and peck. I mean, I'm talking 10 to 15 seconds.
that's
I want to,
important.
yeah, I want to feel you, into me, and that then you got the connection, and you move along.
That's very human, like on a natural level. You guys understand that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we do.
He is the hugger. I'm more like, okay, let's get going. I'm
Yeah.
more of a,
He always wants to go, and I'm like,
the go all the time.
I'm the super affectionate one, and my wife is like, she's learning to be more affectionate with me because she sees how it affects me. And sometimes, I just want to hug, and I just want to hug her. I just want to kiss her. I just like being around her. So it's like when I hug her, sometimes I'll purposely like, grip her because I know she's not gonna be able to get out of it. And then she'll like back up, and I'll be like, I'm not done. You know what I mean?
I need
Well,
more
I
cuddles.
think, I think that some of us were raised in homes where there was not a lot of hugging.
Mm.
So I remember when I first started working, well, going to graduate school, and I was actually working as a clerk typist in a social work department, and all these social workers were huggers. Oh my God. And I wasn't used to it. It was like really, really different. But, I've come to really like it over the years, but it takes a while to kind of get beyond how you were raised. And, sometimes there are different people who have different ways that they were raised, and then you just got to bring the other one along.
Very true.
That is true.
I have a friend his husband is going through a chronic illness now, and not the most affectionate guy, and but I just told her, you know what, just without even saying anything, go up and do random acts of hugging, and just hug them and say, I needed that, I'm not doing this for you, I needed that, and boom, and then just go about your business, you don't start with that.
No, it's true.
It's really important to know how to ask for what you need. Like to be able to articulate that I need a hug, or I'm feeling, that's really important. I just want to let it out there for all of our listeners. If you guys want to drop any questions into the chat or on Facebook, we're monitoring both. If anyone has any questions or things you want to talk about or anything of that nature, we're absolutely open to taking that. Let me ask you guys about well, I already know about it, but I want you guys to talk about the dancing in the driveway thing because it's so cute. Like, I think you guys, I have this picture of it, and I want to see your Ring doorbell cam so bad because it sounds so cute, and I think everybody needs to hear this story.
Well, I had my kidney evaluation on October 11th, so I found out that I was going to have that date on exactly 90 days before the date is. They called me and say, hey, on this day, we're going to do your kidney evaluation. So I've always struggled with weight, and I've always been a big guy all my life. And I knew that I was going to have to lose some weight because that was when I first got my first transplant. That was the big thing. That was like what it was about. You need to lose weight, and, everything else looks good. Got to get that weight down. It's like they harped on it so much. It kind of made me, self-conscious about. I've always been a big dude, but I knew I was big, but it's like they really made me feel like, oh my God, I better, I need to be a pencil. So this time around, I didn't want to go in there unprepared and go in there and be embarrassed kind of in a way, like, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna start working out. And so we have a complex here, and we have security cameras in our house and stuff like that, and we have doorbell cam and all this stuff. And one day, I would go around, and when you walk up on the doorbell, it starts to record you or whatever the case may be. In our driveway, we have one too that comes out. So Mimi started to walk with me, and one day we were walking, and I don't know what I did. I did something funny, not even really realizing about the camera. And then we went through, and we were looking through the camera, and we saw it, and we started laughing. So in my head, subconsciously, I'm like, yo, every time we walk our last walk and get to the driveway, we're going to do something funny. So I would stop. So one day it was acting like a WWE wrestler, and we were like doing these signs from the wrestler. One time we danced merengue and salsa. One time we, I don't know, we just
boxing.
Yeah, we were boxing, and we did like all this little stuff. just kind of like to end our walk, and that was just kind of our thing. And we started posting it. A lot of people thought it was cute, liked it. And to see that, she was walking with me and supporting me. And it was the RK24 challenge, I called it. People were like chiming in with their walking and their stuff like that. And it just gave me a sense of purpose and accountability to get up every day and go walk. Of course, it's got a little bit colder and my punk behind stopped walking as much as I was, but I'm back on it. And a lot of people did like, the driveway dancing every time you finish walking thing. And it became a little thing on Instagram for a little bit, but it was just a reminder of having a teammate, having somebody there with me to hold me accountable, to tell me, hey, we can go one more. Hey, let's do 4 today. Let's do, I was only doing 1, and then I got up to 5 and 4, and it's because of her pushing me and having that accountability. So it just became our little trademark thing of, hey, we accomplished something together. Let's celebrate together, celebrate the win, and that's what we would do.
Well, and I
Oh,
think it
that's
really
great.
helps if, it's good to exercise. Everybody knows it's good to exercise. And to have somebody to exercise with really helps, I think, to motivate you. It's hard to motivate yourself if you go do it by yourself.
Yes, it is. Very much so. And she was definitely a motivator for me. Her and my dogs. My dog would be the one to push
Dogs
me
are so
up.
good for that.
Yeah, he would get up and be like, dude, what are we
It's
doing?
time. It's time.
And I'd be like, babe, you coming? And she'd be like, sometimes she'd be like, no. And then by the time I get to the door, she's behind me dressed already. And, and then we'll make our way out. But it definitely was a motivator to have her there with me. And it just, and her walking in front of me sometimes was also motivation to keep me going fast.
Yeah, she can't beat
bet.
you.
Yeah, I like to live sometimes, just for the view, so I can.
One of the things I think is really it's great how normal you guys are. Like a lot of people I don't think that they're ever going to see it a normal again, and you guys are just so you're showing that there is a new normal after all of the upheaval.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, you want to say something?
No, I'm just saying it is.
It. I mean, it's
It is.
hard. It's hard. You need
You need that partner to motivate you. I need him to motivate me, so we just work together.
Yeah,
So
we
yeah,
do, and
you
it's,
definitely do need that push
it's
from somebody.
it's part of our life, like she accepted this challenge of dealing with this sick guy, you know what I mean, and we didn't know what I didn't know, she didn't know what this was gonna
Right.
turn into at all, and now it being a speaker and going around, it's like look where it's went from just trying to figure out how we're going to survive to educating others.
Right.
It's took a 360 turn, which I'm grateful for, because I always tell her, like, whenever I do an accomplishment or I go somewhere, something happens and she congratulates me on it, I tell her, like, hey, there's no this without without you. I hope you know that, and and I mean that when I say that.
And I think that's one of the key things that's really important in the care partner relationship is thanking the other person for what they're doing for you.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes people forget to say that thank you, or I really appreciate that, or I really love you,
Mm-hmm.
And I think people assume that people know that,
Yeah.
but there are times in relationships where somebody feels like maybe they're not loved, not appreciated.
Yep.
And I've had patients who felt like their spouse might be going to leave them because they were ill. And that's a really sad situation. And I've had patients who thought their spouse might be going to have an affair or something. And it was the farthest thing from their spouse's mind. But they had kind of gotten into that mindset of, I'm sick, I'm not worth it.
Mm-hmm.
This person is so much better than I am. They're not going to stay with me. And then they go down that rabbit hole, which is just terrible.
Yeah, because you could feel unattractive, like even like having a fistula sometimes in my arm. I used to hate to let her see it sometimes, or all these scars I have, so many scars on my body, and it's just like how can someone, you know, for me, like you see me and it's like, man, sometimes I would apologize, like, you know, like, I'm sorry, babe, but you know, she'd be like, no, you know, you just you're insecure. You're insecure
Yeah.
about yourself, your body, how you look, you know, you're weak sometimes, and you know, you're not always 100%. And it's like, who wants to stay with somebody who's not 100%? What type of, you know, woman, you start to get that little pride, like what type of woman would be with a man who can't, you know, who's not, or whatever. And I was never one of those guys that was always like, oh, it's the man's house, blah, blah, blah. I was never like that. But there are some things that I, you know, do want to be in charge of and want to be able to provide and do those type of things. And when I can't, you know, for me, it's like, oh, when I have to say no to the kids, or, you know, it hits me hard. And so like, you need to have a understanding partner. And, you know, she's definitely been that for me to make me feel more of a man than than I ever had. So,
Well,
And
and
the gratitude.
I bet there are times that Mimi doesn't feel 100% either. So you're probably bucking each other up when
Yeah,
one's down, the
absolutely.
other one's up.
I'm
And
worried about her, like, you okay? You know what I mean? You know, she's like, are you okay? You know, so.
I don't know. Are you okay? I'm okay. Oh, you guys are beautiful.
And that's the beauty of gratitude. You know, people have gratitude for I woke up today, to, you know, gratitude for we're in this, and you're working with me, and then even there, you know, obviously all relationships, something's coming up that annoys me, you know, chronic annoyance from the spouse, of just kind of, you know, a little bit how they are. But if you got a chance to stop and say, well, what happens if they weren't around, you know, like the emptiness, and so you almost are have gratitude for, you know, for their little idiosyncrasies, you know, and if you just accept them and go on, then you pass that hurdle.
What were you about to say?
No, I always tell him, because he does cover his fistula now that it's up here, you know, certain things, but he always covered the fistula. And I'm like, don't worry about it. The scars and the fistula is just a reminder of why you're still here. Like, they're keeping you alive. So I don't see it as a bother or anything. To me, it's just scars of a warrior. And
The beauty of you guys being together from when you were so young. I'm in a second marriage, and we met in our freshman year of college, you know, went our own ways and then got back together. So we, you know, in some respects, even though we're long down the road, I think we see each other as 18 and 19-year-olds, you know, and that's a memory there. So our deficits, or whatever they are, you know, right now, I wasn't always like this. So.
Definitely. It's an encourager though, just to continue to grow together, and you know, definitely make you stronger as the time goes on.
What do you guys do in your like, what kind of advice would you give to other people?
Go ahead, I gotta think about it. You guys can go start. So
go
oh my God. Okay.
ahead. You know, talk.
That's what I'm trying to learn. I'm learning how to be a good teammate. My advice would be communication.
Mm-hmm.
You know, communicate how you feel, be honest with each other. You know, sometimes we assume things a lot, what the other's thinking, just like what we talked about, like, you know, feeling unattractive or just needing a minute. I just learned to communicate those things to her. Like, hey man, today I'm just not feeling it, or hey, you know, whatever it is, I just communicate to her and just be honest with her, because I want her to be honest with me, with how she feels. And I think just communication is number one. Number two, man, just you gotta laugh, man. You gotta smile, you gotta laugh. I mean, we say life is too short. That sounds so cliche, but man, it's so true. Like, it's just it's so quick. And it's like, you know, I see RIP a lot on my timeline, and I'm just like, man, like, you know, like, these are people I've known for years, or, you know, who was here for a short time, here for a long time. We lose people all the time. And it's like, I want to live my life accordingly, to a way where, you know, when it is time, it's like, man, I lived it. I didn't hold anything back. And, you know, I do that with her, you know, and I tell her that all the time. Of course, the whole don't go to sleep mad and all that type of stuff is true. You heard it when you was a kid. You're like, you know, now I'm like, yeah, I don't like to go to sleep mad at all, or, I want, you never know. So communicate, be honest, laugh, make mistakes, man. Like as a father, I'm raising kids, but at the same time, they're watching me grow up too. Like we're all watching each other grow up. You know what I mean? Like I'm just older than them. And then like I'm
Um,
still learning. So it's like just keep learning, man, and keep applying what you learn and make it fun.
Yeah.
I have an interesting question. Tom, have you noticed that people that are at home seem more settled and normal sometimes in their relationships or
Well, I mean, absolutely. They develop their rapport. It's within their home. That's one of the reasons I love doing home visits.
Mm.
It is a totally different. I mean, even for home patients, as opposed to coming into the clinic, PD patients coming for their blood or home hemo patients to see the doctor. You go in somebody else's territory, it's a whole different ballgame, man. You're in their world, and they're in control of things, and so without a doubt. So home, like I said, home visits are some of the most fun parts of my professional life, because you get to see people being a little bit more themselves.
Yeah, I think so too.
you think that flexibility like should be more yourself?
Yeah, it does, because you're not, you're more eager to say yeah to things, and you'll be able to, do more things and be together more. And when she started working home, I think that was around, what was that, 2021, 2020, end of 2020.
August 2021.
Yeah, so like when she started working home, we were together all the time, already together a lot, but then it was like we were together all the time, and we really didn't know how that was gonna go, because I was so used to her going to work. I was with the kids. She would come home, and I would still be with them till she got settled, and we'll do dinner, and then she was like off to bed. So it was like we didn't have a lot of like chill time, only on the weekends. But then once she started staying home, we had to like almost relearn each other again, because it's like she's coming in doing things. I'm like, no, we don't do that, And she's like, wait, what? And I'm like, no, don't do it like that. The kids don't like that, it's like you got to relearn your partner again that you've been with so long. But then it turned into where we really realized like we work better together. Like we just work better together. It's like, we give each other the space we need. We communicate like chefs in the kitchen. You got to talk. You got to be able to move around, or you're going to crash into each other and drop the plate. And it's just like we try not to drop the plate. You know what I mean? We'll drop it every now and again, but we usually are able to communicate and work together. Usually, obviously, I'm more of the boisterous one, and this is really how she is a lot of the time. But when she speaks, I make sure to try and be a good listener too, because it matters to me how she feels. It matters to me what she says and how she looks at things and how she's overall feeling about. I want to know, I want to know so I could be better. So that's always important to listen to. That's another tidbit. Be a good listener. Listen, because your wife will not tell you directly. She'll leave little mouse traps. Yes, and so just watch and listen, and you'll be all right.
Everyone, I guess, how do you suggest that people stay close?
I'm going to throw out when we were talking about, talking, be able to express yourself, and maybe everybody's not as gregarious as David is. So I recommend to patients and their care partner journaling. In that, get it down, write it down, express your feelings that way. And if there's a time, whether it be, let's make an appointment and the three of us sit down so you can read your journal to the other person in kind of a a safe time, so that the person isn't insulted or anything, but you got to get it out there. And once again, talking for people who aren't used to talking is very hard. So, I think the journaling and then moving step by step from there.
Me and Tom kind of got the same energy, Tom, because She's not a talker. Go ahead.
But we've been journaling since high school, right?
Yeah, we used to write each other a lot and journal a lot. When we got married, first year of marriage is always tough, I believe. And you're learning each other. We never lived together before it. We were, we moved in and that was it. It was on from then. And I was, struggling in the beginning with certain things that I wasn't used to. And so I remember buying this book, and Mimi wasn't much of a expresser of feelings, and I was, and I felt like I need you to talk to me. But I knew she loved to write because she used to write me letters when I was in college all the time. So I bought a book and I would write to her that day, whether it was good or bad, how I felt, I would write it and I would leave it for her. And she didn't know that was coming until one day I just left it and I was like, hey, can you check this out? Because I feel like journaling allows you to read it 2 or 3 times, no interruptions, no one's yelling. You don't take it the wrong way. You know what I mean? It's just clear cut. You can read it and read it again. And then you can answer each thing that you can go back and read and answer on your own time. It allows you to just have it on your own time. And that got us through a nice period of time when we just needed to talk that way for a bit. And it really helped our relationship get to the point where now we can just communicate easier and talk easier. But journaling definitely is a great advice, and we do that as well.
That's amazing.
I think one of the problems sometimes in marriage is that something happens and people do get some distance from one another, and maybe they're holding hurts or anger inside and they're not discussing it at the time. And then I don't know about other people, but I feel like sometimes I take it, and then I explode. And that's, dropping stuff on everybody. So
Look at that. No, not Mimi.
I am like that. I am. I'll hold it until the last drop,
and then sometimes the last straw is the most stupid thing in the world that'll set you off.
I turn this way. Why are you turning?
Oh no.
And that's why I always say, yo, talk to me. There's a thing I say, she'll tell you, and I say, tell me, give it to me, let me face it. And my biggest thing is don't leave me in the dark. I'm on your team. Like, just talk to me. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I have no problem saying I'm wrong. I have no problem saying I'm sorry. I don't have no problem at all. You just tell me I did what I did. I didn't mean that. I apologize. I'm sorry if it made you feel bad. I'm sorry. I have no problem.
Like I said whatever I said, and you heard it a different way from the way I meant it. That.
See, that's a good one. I can't say that to her because then she'll rewind the tape. Like, no, that's not what I said. So, fellas, just apologize. All right?
So, one other thing that I know that I had patients that, like, you talked about the scars on your body and stuff, and there were especially younger people that maybe are still dating or are not yet married, don't have somebody that has known them since they were 17 years old. They're like, I don't know that I'd feel comfortable getting close to this person, or I don't know if I would feel comfortable being undressed in front of this person, and I don't know what would be your suggestion about dealing with
people who feel that. I have a lot of young patients who've said things like that too. How do you guys navigate that?
Yeah, and you gotta, like I said, like you said, we've been together so long. I kind of got to the point where you know what it is. What you see is what you get. You know what I'm saying? But for people who are just starting out, it's important to take your time. It's important to not try and please anyone. You know what I mean? When you're just trying to impress someone or whatever the case may be. And like we've been saying all night, communicate those feelings. Come here. I think the dog eats something. Sorry. Communicate those feelings as much as you can to that person. Like, hey, if this is really the person, you can't just say this to everybody. But if it's the one and you have these feelings and you know, you think you're in love, and then you communicate like, hey, it's been a long time since anyone's seen me this way because of this, this, and this. And if they're really for you, they'll understand and they'll see past that. You know, they'll see past that, and those scars that become a part of them as well. You know what I mean? And you know, I just think you just take your time. And there's some people who are a little more carefree than others. There's some people who are willing to show their scars and love their scars, and which you should. And you know, but you know, there's some like who be insecure about it, which is completely understandable. So I always tell them, do it on their time, take their time, communicate it to that person why you're like that, because then the other person can take it in a way of, oh, they might not think they're attractive enough. You might not think they're attractive enough because you're not opening up to them. But if you communicate to them why you're not, I think they'll become understanding, and you both will kind of, they might admit like, oh, I thought you just didn't like me. Like, no, I thought you know, and then shirts might come off right then and there. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? But communicate that and let them know if, when you feel like this is the one for you and this is a serious relationship, I feel like you just do it on your time and take baby steps with it, because it is a thing.
Yeah, don't push it.
Yeah, don't push it.
Just embrace it.
Yeah, it's especially for young people and in new relationships, you know, that it's just a tough situation versus people who've been together for a while.
They're in shock. It's new. You know, you think if the minute you take off your shirt or show your arm, they're out of there. You know, they think something, you know, they don't want to be with no sick guy or no sick girl. And, you know, but we start to think for them though. And I think you shouldn't think, let them tell you these things, or let them communicate those things before you start to build. I always call it, you know, building mountains out of clouds. Like there's no substance. It doesn't hold.
That's a great way of putting it.
You know what I mean?
I think about 30 years ago, Tom Berenger did a movie. I can't remember the name of it. He played a detective who became a professor, but he'd had some wounds, whatever the case may be. You're 3/4 of the way through the movie. Turns out he's on PD. And they showed this very sexual scene with him, you know, with his PD catheter and everything. It was the most graphic sexual scene I've seen with somebody with a PD catheter. So, I mean, those were back in the VCR days, you know?
That was always a question that patients would come to me and ask. Honestly, is it even possible? Of course it is.
Yeah.
It's always possible to be close to somebody. It's always possible to have affection and intimacy, and it doesn't necessarily have to mean one specific act or another specific act. Sometimes intimacy is just being close. It's that hug, it's that kiss, it's that holding hands, it's the whole gamut of it.
100%. Yeah, it's just something, you know, it's a feeling, really, honestly. And I feel like if you feel that with a person and you're close with them like that, you know, those things will come naturally and nothing will feel forced. You know what I mean?
Right.
And just go with it.
You guys have such a nice, I don't know, you have such a very nice vibe about you.
And this is not acting. She would tell
No, you guys are always like this. You guys, they're
Martin up here. She would tell you, I have no problem being honest with anything. Like I tell her, hey, I messed up, or hey, I'm not good at this, or hey, I'm trying to be better, or what can I do to be better, or whatever the case may be. Because I just feel like, you know, I've seen, you know, my parents didn't have the best marriage. You know what I mean? My stepfather and my mom didn't have the best marriage, and I vowed to try and be a better dad and a better husband, and I was hell-bent on that for a while. But then it turned out like there are things when you realize as an adult, like, man, it is a little hard when you get married and you're in a relationship. You kind of do gotta adjust a lot and compromise and change things up. And when I realized that, I was like, man, okay, I gotta sit back and kind of check myself now. And, you know, I got to be the better person for me and the better person for her, instead of trying to be a better person for somebody that has nothing to do with my relationship. So, but this is who we are. I mean, we vowed to kind of do things differently. Once we got past rocky points in our relationship, it was just like, hey, man, we want to be better. Like, what do we need to do to just make this a fun ride? You know what I mean? And how can we make this fun for each other? How can we make parenting fun? How can we still date but be married? You know what I mean? And we just made a vow to be that way with each other from here on out and be honest and talk. And I think that's
So do you guys have a date night or anything like
Yeah.
that?
we try.
We try, but our date nights are more like, hey, let's watch this on Netflix or Hulu, you know, binge watching, or I'll cook something that he likes and we'll sit
Mhm.
down and eat and watch whatever. We really don't
Yeah.
like stepping out. I
Yeah,
think.
like we're home.
Like,
I'm
we're
a homebody.
homebodies.
Like, and our kids are old enough now to where they kind of can navigate their own waters, which is great. So when we want to kind of have our time, they're in their rooms anyway, being tweens. So it's like, all right, y'all go ahead. Me and mom are gonna go downstairs, watch a movie. We'll kick them out the living room or the loft, whatever, and we'll just kind of snuggle up and watch a movie. And like that for us is almost like a date night. Like we just get to sit down and relax. And I'm not in here working on music or talking or doing anything. I'm with her. She's, we put the phones away and just kind of like kick it with each other. And for us, that's kind of okay. Like that's enough, because we'll plan a date night. Like, hey, we're gonna go out here and go eat, drink this, and we'll get to the day of, and she'll look in the closet. I'll look in the closet. We'll look at the weather. It's a little chilly. She'll look at me, and I go,
Nah.
Well, I mean, watching a movie together, snuggled up together sounds like a good date night.
That's the good stuff in life right there.
cheap. It's economical. I don't gotta waste no gas. You know what I'm saying?
You're already paying for Netflix.
You're already paid for the Netflix and the food that's in your fridge that you could cook.
That's all we want. And
Right.
I'm with my best friend, and we having a good time. Honestly, it's just being with her. I just like being around her. Honestly, I just do. We like hanging out. It's hard for us to kind of be apart.
Mhm.
The kids laugh at us because I'll be like, call your mom, tell her, we're on our way home. And someone's like, we'll be home in a minute. Dad. I'm like, yeah, just letting her know because we're usually home by 7:54 and it's 7:57. I gotta let her know you're home soon. But that's just how we are, man. I guess, I got like that primarily after my big surgery. I got real scared to separate.
Mhm.
Um,
Oh, wow.
yeah, I had separation anxiety after 2019. I had what do you call it? A double nephrectomy on my kidneys, and that's when I
Uh.
found cancer. And I was under for about 9 hours.
Mhm.
And when I came out, I just
When he woke up, I wasn't around. I was still in the waiting room with my sister-in-laws who had ordered food and they were eating. So I didn't want them to bring the food upstairs. He's barely waking up and groggy. So I was like, okay, I just wait. I was like, plus they have to switch him over to his bed, give him some privacy so they can, clean him up, do whatever the nurses need to do. But giving him the chance to eat and giving them the time to get him ready, it was like, come on, ladies, we gotta get going. Can we finish this food? But I'm not saying it to them. In my mind, I'm like, come on, hurry up, we gotta go.
So we have a Facebook question about this, and I think it's a good spinoff, and I kind of want to hear. So the question is, how do you handle it when your partner doesn't want to go out at all and they're content to be home all of the time?
Mm.
And how did you guys get out of that?
we went out.
We used to go out.
But you gotta remember, we've been together since high school, so we did a lot of going out. So it was like,
Okay.
for us, it's different because we were together in the most savage years ever. I was a club head. I was doing music, so I was always in the club Thursday through Sunday. She would come with me sometimes. My performances all over the place. I've toured. Hey, how did I do that? I've toured the world. She's been around with me, so we did a lot of going out. So when we had kids, it was like, yo, I'm cool in the house, unless it was kid related, and then we would go out. But I think we did so much so early, and I would pick her up. Sometimes it'll be 11, 12 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, yo, let's go down to
downtown.
Let's go to downtown and get some food, like random in the middle of the night. And she'd be like, all right, come get me. And so it's just like we've done all that. So I think now it's just our time. Like we're almost like old heads, like just want to relax and chill and be in the house. And it's like two old people just want to relax and chill. And I think it's all right because we did so much running around at a young age. It's like now it's like, okay, we can just relax now.
And I know a lot of couples who, I mean, they have nothing to do with kidney failure, but I think in general, as women get older, women get more dynamic and men rust. And I think there's a lot of relationships where the guy's retired, happy with a cigar, a drink, and football. And, my recommendation, well, I don't want to just say all men, to the other spouses, get your friends and get out of the house, because if you're sitting around waiting for them,
You'll never do nothing.
yeah, yeah. And if
Yep.
you go and have a good time, that may entice them,
The minute
Come
she
back and you say, "Oh, this was so great.
This
We
was
went
so
and did
much
this
fun
and did
without
that and did
you."
this," and they're like, "Well, crap."
It's almost like doing things independently bring people closer together sometimes.
Dude, she
So we
wanted
have 4 minutes. If people have questions, drop them now, please.
questions asked. Stop being shy.
Yeah, ask us questions. We want to know all of the things. We'll talk about any of the things. We'll talk about the things we shouldn't talk about. In the meantime, while we're waiting for questions, I just wanted to thank Outset for sponsoring this tonight. David uses the Tableau machine.
Can I publicly thank my wife?
Please do.
Sir. Publicly thank my wife for being who she is, for
Oh,
best caregiver I've ever had in my life, the only caregiver I ever want in my life. For dealing with me. I know it's not an easy road with my sickness and the surgeries and the constant hospital visits and all that, but you have been that and everything. So thank you for being just you. Don't ever change. Maybe a
Sydney and Beth are gonna cry.
I love you so much, and I'm proud of who you are, and I love who you are. And you know I'm your biggest fan, your biggest cheerleader, and just thank you. And I love you.
Thank you very much.
Oh, sweet
oh,
flowers.
Oh, you see, guys, that's how it's done out there. You guys
but
got
just real quick, just real quick,
It's
can
beautiful.
you tell us a little bit about, using the machine that you use and how that works for you? I know that I told somebody who was asking about traveling, I said, you've been able to travel with, even though you're on the Tableau that isn't transportable, but
But the Tableau has been a great machine for me. I've been with them for the last 3 years. The Tableau machine, working with them too, has just allowed me to travel like that. Having the patient key, not having to worry about bringing anything around. And, for me, it's about whatever's best for the patient. You know what I mean? For me, I'm good with taking this, this key, traveling around the world, popping it into other Tableau machines. And if there's not a Tableau there, I have no problem going in center, candidating myself wherever I'm at, still doing my treatment, still getting it done. I've traveled as far as Hawaii on the Tableau.
I know, I saw that.
That's amazing. It's great. I've never been to Hawaii.
Yeah, it's my first time, and I got to do it with just a bag of clothes, and not have to worry about bringing any supplies or bringing anything else. And it just was very helpful to be able to do that. But
How do you find out where Tableau machines are located? So when you're going someplace, you can.
Your facility, we're allowed to call the facility wherever you're going to be at, and they'll, question them. I'm a USRC patient, so if there's a USRC near, they usually have a Tableau near there. If they don't, I just treat in center. So you kind of go through your social worker at your facility, your home nurse, and let them know where you're going to be. They'll get the closest one there. They usually call to see if they have a home program and if there's a Tableau available, and if there is, you can just pop your patient key in and treat. So it's really been a safe way of traveling. And usually though, when I do my travelings too, I don't like to stay extended times. I'll go there and do a day, have my off day there, then come home and treat when I get home. And being that there's no batching or nothing like that, I can just heat up and treat within an hour, which allows me anytime.
Oh wow, that's nice. Yeah.
So
well, we are at time. So as closing words, Tom, what do you have? We'll just do a quick round robin of our tatas.
Well, once again, I think talk and touch, whatever brings you there and gets you there, and schedule those, don't just pop it on somebody. So, schedule it into your time, and that's the beginning. That's the first steps that you take. So I would recommend that all around. Kidney failure or not,
Beautiful. You guys, Beth?
I just think, I am so appreciative of David and Mimi sharing their experiences with us and hearing about how they weathered some tough storms along the way and got through it by communicating. I think too many of us bottle our stuff up and don't communicate very well, and we all need to take a course in communication, I guess.
As kitty patients, you already feel you're a burden. You already feel that nothing is normal. You already feel like you're doing a lot of heavy lifting and you're putting more weight on everyone else around you. Whether they say it or they don't, you feel like that. And that's why I feel like communicating is so important, because it gets some of that weight off your shoulders. It allows you to express yourself for people to understand, and allows them to voice to you that it's not really what's in your head. It's all in your head. It's not really what they think about you. And when you hear that, it empowers you to know that, okay, this is a fight I'm not in by myself. And when you do find a partner, like we all said, thank them, love on them the same way you want love from them. Try to be there for them when you're up. It's not the time that they need to push you up higher. It's the time that you need to be able to be there for them and be up for them. When I'm feeling good and feeling great, I try to make sure I'm there for her if she needs me just as much as she's there for me when I'm not feeling good and feeling great. So keep that communication, laugh as much as you can, and do your best to take every day with a grain of salt. Be thankful for your day. Drink coffee with your wife in the morning if you can. If you don't drink coffee, drink tea. And tell her you love her every now and again, man. It's cool to be a loving husband, man. It's cool to love your kids. It's cool to be a good husband. It's cool to, just be happy. It's okay. And I just put that out there. And of course, wins only. You always got to win. Every day's a win. And love yourself and love others. And that's it. Right?
And if you can't verbally express yourself or communicate well, journaling.
Ah.
I love that. I'm going to tell people that I do it too. It's great. That was I love that everyone was like, yes.
And don't be
all right.
Problems on the internet neither.
Please don't.
Don't.
Definitely not. No, definitely don't Facebook your problems on the internet. Be loving and supportive and grateful to your partners. Well, everyone, I'm going to stop the Facebook and I'm going to say bye-bye Facebook. Bye Facebook. And then I'm going to stop the recording too. So goodbye Zoom. Good night Zoom.